Tony D and Little Joan, and this is a screenwriter's rant on the unlikely pilgrimage of Harold Fry, about a man who he's retired and his friend's in hospice, and he decides to go walk to see her the entire length of England. He decides to walk. Neat. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 10 available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. I'm very full of spaghetti. I made assassin spaghetti tonight from a video I saw on YouTube. It was interesting. It was an interesting cook. Anyhow, so Harold Fry, one of these characters, he never really did anything with his life. Now he's retired. So living with his wife. And an old friend of his is dying in hospice. And I guess it's based on a novel. I guess he never learned to drive or is afraid of driving and doesn't like to ride cars. So he decides to walk to his friend. And he sees it as saving her. So he's walking. Man, that rolls 500 miles. Decides that he's going to walk the whole 500 miles to see her. And it becomes a drama about his life, basically. He lost his son, I think, to a drug overdose. So he never dealt with that. So part of that comes out. Here's a dramatic moment. And then he gets very close. He's 18 miles away, and then his wife finally comes around. First, she's very much against it, but he gets within 18 miles. Like, oh, that's nothing. Go, finish. First she's very against it and tries to stop him. Then she turns it around. All right, so let's see who wrote this thing. Screenplay by Rachel Joyce. Directed by Hetty MacDonald. Very English names. I think this is all English. Based on a novel by Rachel Joyce. Oh, okay, so they got the same woman to do the screenplay. That's good. Feels very genuine. I like it. It's got like kind of a whole inspirational tone to the whole thing. Edited by Napoleon Strategiankis. Wow, what a name that is. And John Harris. Jim Broadbent is the actor. I recognize him from other things. I've seen him on the BBC. I'm sure he's been on there forever. But I've recognized him from other stuff. I know I've seen him in something. I just can't recall. So yeah, this is kind of. I think it's kind of moving. He just decides to go, and along the way he learns something. It's literally a character's journey, right? So pretty straightforward on the nose. He's got 500 miles to walk. He's an old guy. Can he make it? He So first act. He has he hears about his friend. Oh, it's terrible. What are you gonna do? And then he's in the druggist, as they call it in the UK, and he's talking to the girl behind the counter, and he was thinking about visiting his friend. He doesn't really think he's going to do it, but then he talks to her, and she's like, oh, I went and visited my friend who was dying, and she said it like really brightened her day or saved her or whatever. And so that inspires him to go. So I think he just goes. And he may or may not be fighting with his wife. It's kind of hard to tell in the beginning. But there's definitely some tension there. So next thing you know, he just goes. And his wife's like, where the hell is he? And she calls and, he's already left. He's already walking. I don't know why he doesn't get in the car, but there you go. I guess he's afraid of cars. Some people have that deal. So he decides to walk, and he's walking and walking and walking. And he gets blisters on his feet, and he meets various people, and they kind of call him a weirdo and at first. But then someone along the way tells his story to a newspaper, and it becomes national news. And then everybody's like, yay, go walk to your dying friend and save her. His wife, on the other hand, very much against it, probably not dealing with the same thing he's not dealing with, tries to get the cops to stop him, I think, or talks to a newspaper or someone, and very much against it. Is dealing with her own struggle back at home. Without him there, she's angry and she's pulling down curtains and screaming at him on the phone. The second act's about the most of the journey. The climax of the whole thing is he ends up trying to deal with why he's doing this. And the real reason is he's kind of walking away from his problems, trying to do something with his life, trying to redeem himself when he failed his son. Right? So his son OD'd or something. He either didn't deal with it, didn't do enough, feels guilty, and now this is his way of kind of making that up. And I've always said to people, when they give you advice or try to get you to do something, it's not that they're trying to save you, it's they're trying to save themselves. Right? Somebody gives you advice, it's because they made that mistake back in the day, and they are trying to redeem themselves by getting you not to make it. So it's kind of like that. So he has that moment, that real sad moment where he's going to give up, and he's in the rain, and he's got a beard, and then he makes it all the way there. I assume to see his friend, and then his friend, I don't know, does he recover or she recover? Her name's Queenie, so I assume it's a woman. Does she recover? Maybe. Or maybe it doesn't matter. This could be a movie in the third act. He's got, here's the scene. You've got 18 miles to go. Keep going. So he decides to keep going. And you don't see the end. It's all left up to your imagination. Or, you get a thing where, like, it's the next day and he's already visited her, and you never even get to meet Queenie, but you know that, oh, okay, she's better now because he showed up there or whatever. Because the story's really more about him than her, or you might see it. I mean, it could kind of go a bunch of different ways. Depends on the way the filmmaker wants it to roll out. Personally, I would want to see her after the whole movie, waiting for him to reach Queenie. Like, if you didn't see her, I'd be annoyed. But I can understand why you wouldn't show her, because you want to have the audience romanticize it in their brains to some degree. It's kind of like the radio effect. Like, you're listening to an audio drama and you're picturing everything rather than seeing it. So it's sort of like that. I mean, I kind of like this trailer. Definitely. It seemed inspiring. I like that it's an older guy, because it sort of has that, not because, oh, you're an older guy, no wonder. No, because it has that impact, right? You get the sense like, yeah, he hasn't really done anything with his life, and finally, after all this time, he takes a stand. He finally does something. He does this walk, and it changes his life. Even though he's late in the game, he's finally done something, and, and then maybe this is, here's his wife getting mad. And then it changes. And then him and his wife come together, it seems, at the end. So it seems like it's going to be a nice story. I'm not in love with the title, The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Like, how many marquees do we need that to fill up the name? I think it should be a little shorter. Like The Pilgrimage, The Unlikely Pilgrimage, something like that. But, it's one of those movies that has that kind of name. It's an indie movie, right? The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Would I see this? I might. If I needed a nice, happy movie, an inspirational movie, kind of cheer me up after seeing, some kind of downer thing. Yeah. Seems wholesome. Seems nice. Seems like it would be very watchable. Would I go see it in the theaters? Maybe. Maybe on a date. This is a nice date movie because it's kind of like, oh, that was nice. Yeah, and it gives you a pleasant feeling when you're coming out of the movies with your date. And you want that kind of positiveness associated with you. That kind of thing. I mean, it's not like a movie I'd go see with my friends on a summer Saturday or something. Like, we want to go see, like, things explode. Yeah, or on video on demand. some Sunday, I'm just lounging around. Yeah, let's watch this. Oh, that was nice. It's like a relaxing cup of tea. So, The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Do we have a date on this thing? Let's see. Oh, let's read the synopsis. Harold is an ordinary man who passed through life living on the sidelines until he gets a post letter one day and just keeps walking. So, yeah, it's about an ordinary guy who finally does something extraordinary. I kind of like it. I kind of like the premise. Yeah, not sure when it opens. Coming soon, it says. So I would say within the next 2 months, probably. Probably a video on demand is your most likely bet. Or an art house movie. Art house. All right. That's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble. Remember, we do 4 videos a day. 2 are on YouTube. The other 2 are there. They're too spicy for YouTube. Much like my dinner. Ugh, too spicy. Check out my various links. The signings are all going to be this week at libraries. Deptford on Wednesday, Egg Harbor City on Thursday, and Guild Memorial Library on Saturday. Hope to see you there, and I'll see you tomorrow in the live stream.